a final save of, or stream of this save, just to give a wrap up, because I finished it all on my own. And it was a very interesting conclusion. So Lyngby won the league, no surprise. AGF and Copenhagen fought till the very end. Copenhagen actually had a bit of a lead. Unfortunately for them, their very last two games were both against Lyngby in the league. So they did manage to sneak a draw at the end, but it wasn't enough. AGF hung on and had a very good run at the end. But the fun part, and you might have seen it just there, is the Champions League became more than interesting. So our main goal was to pass France for fifth. And the Champions League came down to wanting to knock out PSG. And that's tough enough on its own. However, we got to a certain round where all right, round of 16. Both AGF and Lyngby moved on. Made me very, very happy. There was the play-in round, and unfortunately, this is where I believe we had a third team in the Champions League. Oh, the wrong year. Playoff round. At some point, we had a team knocked out of this. Did we only have two teams in the Champions League? I'm pretty sure we had three. Might be looking at the wrong year. Ah, yes, here we go. I was looking at the wrong year. All right, so this is how this shook out for us. Northland managed to make it in. AGF finished 8th. Lyngby finished 1st in the league phase, which was great. Northland got knocked out by Chelsea in the playoff round. So that was unfortunate. It was very close. What are you going to do? Round of 16, AGF and Lyngby both won. Made me very happy. Hello, Drop Bear. I'm just doing the wrap up. The final things that happened in this for the VOD. PSG also won, so that didn't make for a good day. But the quarterfinal, AGF drew PSG, and I thought, well, maybe we'll beat them in the final, hopefully, but AGF knocked them out. Your side did win. We're going to get to that, but AGF knocked out PSG, and I was so thrilled. And then we beat Barcelona, and then the semifinal. I thought, well, we didn't draw each other, AGF and Lyngby, and I was so thrilled. And I thought, what are the chances? What are the chances we can have an all Denmark final in the Champions League? And it happened. And that was the best possible outcome. It did not matter which team won it. It was a very close 2-0 win for Lyngby. But the fact that they were both there, we knocked out the French team, was amazing. As mentioned, in the Conference League, this one went really, really well as well. So in the league phase, Copenhagen went undefeated, perfect record, 6-0-0. In the knockouts, they didn't have to play that. In round of 16, they cruised to quarterfinal. I'd say they cruised. It was a little closer, but this one, there was an absolute smashing. And then in the final, it was a very nice win against a very good Italian team. So again, 2 of the 3 European trophies came to Denmark. And I thought, well, this is amazing. We're definitely going to pass France on the coefficients. And did we? But what I didn't suspect was that we would end up passing both Germany and Italy as well. So my goal of getting to 5th was reached, and we even overachieved on that on the strength of 2 Denmark teams in the Champions League final and 1 winning the Conference League. So yeah, like I said, we needed 4 teams. Technically, you could say we only needed 3, but honestly, Nordsjælland making the knockouts kept one of the other teams out of the knockout round, so that it still helped a lot. So yeah, Denmark got to 3rd, and the amazing thing about this too is with qualification places, that now means we have 4 instantly in the Champions League. So 4 teams in the Champions League, 2 teams in the Europa League, and 1 in the Conference League. So now we have 7 teams, but that's not all. Because there's the extra coefficient places, which it's not going to show here because it's not the current season. But the top 2 teams in coefficients also get an additional Champions League place, and we got one of them. So that means we have 5 teams in the Champions League for I'm not going to be playing the next season. And I know people probably be like, oh God, we really want to see that. I mean, I kind of do too, but this was a lot of work. Having a 5th team in there would be lovely, even if it's the AI. But so we will have 5 teams in the Champions League, 2 teams in the Europa League, and a team in the Conference League. So we're going to end up with 8 teams in Europe out of 12. So only 4 teams won't play in Europe in all of the Denmark First League. And that, to me, is just there's no higher you can go. I mean, sure, we could get to the first coefficient spot, but it doesn't matter. The amount of qualification places is the same. Well, I'll check out your player in a minute. I'm just, like I said, I'm doing the wrap up for the VOD, and then I'm going to start the French game. So absolutely goal complete with 8 teams in Europe going forward. I think it would be near impossible not to supplant England at the very, very top. Hi, Wayne. Thank you. So yeah, I think this was the most ridiculously wonderful result I could ever have hoped for, and I'm so thrilled, so thrilled. There aren't any words. You got the Bezostis. That sounds terrible. I hope it isn't contagious. Bezositis. I think that's Bezositis. Bezositis. That's what it would say, and that would make a lot more sense than my attempt at butchering it horribly. But yeah, so the top 5 was always the goal because it's the same amount of qualification places. Even if this one's in the league path, it doesn't matter. But getting 3rd and even the extra league phase qualification spot just I can't even. It's so amazing. So I have the DNA view on bad, just because I thought, well, that was a good opportunity to look and see what my players were rated at. So this was the Lyngby team. You can see why they were Champions League contenders. But what gets me, and I really enjoy, is this is your AGF team. Oh wait, that's not necessarily the starters. Gressler didn't start in big games. It was Herslov. Anyway, this is the AGF team. And it's crazy to me that these guys got to the Champions League final. Like, they got some good players, but this is not a Champions League final kind of team. So this came down to determination, a decent tactic, and just overall luck. They had some luck. So, I mean, yeah, this was the other team that made it to the final. Copenhagen's team that won the Europa League. Let's make sure we put in their first team. This is a couple of changes have been made to this team. Their starting right back is gone, so we were going to start this guy because apparently he had high potential, and well, yeah, turns out he does. But this was the team that won the Conference League. Not bad at all. Easily have. This is why they kept up with AGF. They're quite similar, other than they lost their starting right back. But you can see down here we have a guy that could play starting right back very easily, and we probably would have played him in Europe games, but for the league, I never have a problem starting a young guy, breaking him in, kind of thing. You could see AGF had something similar with Gressler was actually going to be the starter because of his high potential. But Herslov always played in Champions League games, and I always thought Herslov would be higher rated than this. Honestly, when I looked at him, I thought, okay, maybe he's got to be about 140, 145, but he's not. He's 136, and that actually surprised me how off I was. He played well above his rating. So that's kind of cool to find that out at the very end. And then let's see, this is the Nordsjælland squad. They were decent. Again, they very competitive. A couple of changes have been made to the team. The other starting striker isn't here anymore. Some transfers have already been made for these because I was contemplating playing another season of it. And I was like, no, too much, but it would be exciting, right? To try to watch 5 teams make the Champions League for the next season. It wouldn't be the one upcoming; it would be the one after. But yeah, kittens are overfed. Nice, that's fantastic. So that was the results of all of that, and yeah, like I said, that was probably well above what I could have expected. The national team. What's this? Praise criticize the players' training when they show the training results in the news. Is that what you're talking about? The weekly training. Just gonna try to find one here. Oh, on the training tab. Training tab. Okay, and then what do you look at here? Praise criticize the player individual. This sorted by position. Sorted by position. Training rating right here. You can just click to sort it by that if you want. It's usually sorted by position. You must have clicked this accidentally and sorted it by name because mine's sorted by position. But if you want to rate, oh, I'm not understanding. In the player profiles in here, oh, on the right. I don't have player profiles on the right. This? These are in alphabetical order. I see. Okay, yeah, all right. And that's a bug for you? These have always been in the same order for quite a long time. They're like that in every player profile, regardless of where you access them from. Like I can access them right from my team, and they're in alphabetical order. They've kind of always been that way, as far as I know. That hasn't changed in ages. I'm not sure why that's a bug. Oh, I see. So you want it to be alphabetical if you switch languages. I understand. Uh, okay. Well, I mean, but I think that what happened was at one point they were reorganized by alphabetical order. However, the main issue with that is then it's all in a different order. People get used to seeing it in the same place. Like I know with unconsciously, I could close my eyes and be like, finishing is going to be like the fourth thing down from the, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. See, like I know exactly where to look for a specific attribute without thinking. Like I know pace is going to be third from the bottom on the right column. Well, there's pace, right? Like it just, and then if you change it to a different language, I think that it's a familiarity thing. But yeah, I suppose it would be kind of cool if you could have the option to sort it alphabetically, even though it would change the order of what's there. A person could get used to it a different way, no problem, right? Yeah, that would be interesting. I wouldn't call that a bug so much as just a missed feature. Like that's something that could be in there that they just didn't put in. It's definitely not a bug. It's not intended to reorganize alphabetically in different languages. It used to. Long ago, it did, and then there was a lot of complaints. It's a turn off. I want my game in Portuguese and look at the player profile. And so, yeah, okay. I mean, fair enough. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you could suggest in the suggestions forum. Better yet, I'll even mention it. Like that it's something that could be brought back because it happened at one point. 3 different versions of Fortnite. I mean, so many people play it, Wayne. It doesn't matter. Like, I've never played it, not even for a minute. I've seen it briefly in a video, and I thought, "What the hell is the turn on with this game?" And then I remember it's free and kids can play it, but it has such a large player base. 3 different versions doesn't affect the player base at all. They have millions each of them. But yep, so this was the results of this save. It was all very, very positive. I'm getting sidetracked already. I was just going to do a wrap up VOD of this and then switch to the other game. But yeah, I don't know what else to show. Oh, the national team. Not many changes happened on the national team. It's primarily the same. I guess Lauritsen broke in place of what a mess. Lauritsen temporarily broke in. He wasn't going to stay for the whole time, and only because I need to sort this by the bad ones so everybody can see their attributes now. Right, Bovig was supposed to come back. I think he was just injured, and that's why Lauritsen made it. But he got his debut, and he was all thrilled. He's like, "Yay! Thanks for having me." I need to switch it back. I don't know why I care right now. Like I said, I probably won't play this again, but just in case I do, just in case I do, I don't want to forget. There's always a chance that I could load it again by popular demand at some point. It's hard to say. So yeah, that this is how the national team ended up. Looking at it, they're not too bad. You can see the defense is quite weak, like I was always complaining, and getting older. So yeah, the drop off that I was saying, like not a lot of defenders were developing, and even our two backups on the bench are 30, right? And so the left back position, not really any help coming from that. At right back, I guess I had a couple of options for right backs there. I think Gardsfall eventually would have become the starter. At 21, he was only. Oh no, wait, he should be the starter now. Look at that. I just completely misconstrued their ratings when I looked at them. I thought that he was still rated a little bit higher than him, but you can see he's a bit of a mess. But he's still developing. But yeah, look at that. I should have been starting Gardsfall the whole time. Oh well. Henrik Johnson really took over as the linchpin at DM. Good thing. Still got a strong midfield. Zertmer had taken over a starting job after Eriksson retired. But looking at the depth there, that's another issue. The backups, Bidstrup and Kaiser there were the up and comers, and they were 149 and 146 potential ability, so they were never going to be huge stars. But the front three were strong. Even with Lidstrom here and Bovig as his backup, strong. At striker, we had Kjærgaard starting, but then you've got Bovig was an option. Jonas Wind was an option, although he has lost some of his step. I think he's at 149, still not bad. Hoyland was at 147, although he didn't develop properly because, when he was with Man U, he didn't play. Or no, he didn't go to Man U. Sorry, he went to, in this save, he stayed at Dortmund. Or no, at this save, he was there. Then he went to Hoffenheim. He went to Dortmund and he didn't play. So he didn't get enough playing time, and that was another case of players sitting on the bench from FM23. From the time I loaded the save in FM24, he started developing better, but he never got to his potential, which is unfortunate because, as you can see, he would have probably pushed for a starting job. Goalkeeping, well, thank gosh for Kosh, because holy crap, look at the drop off and the goalkeepers below him. So yeah, when we look at the national pool, which is what we were doing, we'll do this one. And like I said, some good players up front weren't quite on the team. Like Lauritsen was on the cusp, Tui was on the cusp. This is our next best striker option, Amar at 142. So there was some pretty big talent drop offs, honestly. Sorensen was probably going to end up pushing for a job eventually. So, like I said, up front, we were great. Even Nicholas Stephenson hadn't quite developed into a starter yet, but I was looking forward to having him. Oscar Frollo, again, didn't get enough playing time. He reached 25 and capped out at 140. He'd probably go up a few more points, but he'll never reach the 153 here. Chakwani was a similar one. Never would have reached 148. But yeah, young guys. Let's see. Sveistrup. I thought he had a higher upside than this, but that's why you don't look at those things, because you want it to be a mystery. Hertzlav, I always thought was better. Ken. Similhack was never going to be better than 143. Again, I thought, well, they suggested he was going to be a real star at some point. Morten Jensen probably would have eventually been a starter. Silas Nilsson, this is the next closest young central defender. Way down here. He would have eventually, hopefully, made a starting role if he could get to his potential ability. At 20, he had a good shot if he played a lot, which, being on Lingby, I think he was 4th or 5th on choice center back. So I was trying to get him in more games, forcing him into more games, so I could get his ability up, because I kind of had a feeling he was going to be the next national team starter if I could get him there. But it's always a slog trying to get enough games for your young players. You know what I mean? But it's nice at this point because most of these players, when I'm looking down, are new gens. So it's kind of cool to see how close they were to what I thought they were going to be. I love doing this at the end of a save, looking at what their abilities and potentials were, because it's just interesting to find. I guess, yeah, Jensen here, the right winger, he had a way higher potential ability than I expected. I should have played him more, though he's only 18. He has a great chance of making that potential. Again, he's better than I thought he was going to be. Whereas this guy, look at that. I scouted him. He came through with a 5-star potential, but he's only 130. You gotta love that. It's one of the scouts got that one really wrong. But I was watching him. Michael Peterson, again, a Lingby backup goalkeeper, was probably going to end up being the national team backup goalkeeper. Funny, both national team keepers would have been on my team at that point. No surprise. Victor Rasmussen was definitely going to push for a start eventually, but none of these guys were huge. Oh, look at this. I thought Joel Alfredson was going to be a really good player, but I had no idea his potential was 187. This guy would have been like the bona fide genuine superstar of the national team when he got there. Here's another one, Magnus Hansen. 177. Like our youth academy just really started churning out players like madness once we got them fully upgraded. 169. This guy would have been right or left back. Plus, we got a left back here, Rasmussen on Copenhagen. So like our future wasn't going to be too bad. It just would have taken a long time to get these players up to the standard they needed to be in order to make it there. Going further down, let's see, Casper Peterson. So we would have had a goalkeeper from AGF probably eventually. We got another left defender here. So you know what? Our wingbacks would have eventually been great after several seasons. Whoa, 179. A striker on AGF. Okay. His upside is huge. Where did they get him from? He came from the Copenhagen Academy and AGF snapped him up. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Sorry. It doesn't go on that view very often ever, so it doesn't hold it when I leave that page. Julius Nelson. Look at that, a central defender. I hope eventually I would have spotted him, but I'm not sure. The stars would have had to change. I should do a save one day where I just play with all these turned on. Save myself the time. But then, you don't get the adventures and misadventures of getting things wrong. That's part of the fun, isn't it? But I guess our future would have been okay in like 4 or 5 seasons. Still, though, trying to hold on to this squad for 4 or 5 more seasons. Like, I don't think Anderson and Christensen would have held the fort at central defender for that long. Not even the backups, Nilsson and Sorensen there. I don't think they would have 4 or 5 more seasons. No chance. No chance. So, yeah, central defense was going to become an issue. Even our wingbacks were going to be a problem in the not too distant future. Right on. Reply to some messages. Sorry. You wanted me to look at a player you signed? Oh yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. But yeah, I'm just fascinated to know all this under the hood stuff right now. That's the national team, and they ended up with. Okay, well, we hadn't finished the World Cup qualifications. That's fine. I have no intention of following them up, unfortunately. The holders of the World Cup is Denmark. So, like, I won it with Denmark. When they were young and sprightly, and well, no, they were never really young and sprightly. But before Ericsson left, before one of our other central defenders left, we had a much stronger team. But they aged out largely, so it's awesome, Drop Bear. That's fantastic. Just got to keep doing this wrap up so I can actually get to my next save. But what else were we going to show about the national team? All the World Cup qualifications. I suppose we should look at the national coefficients because I don't think we're rated number one, which is funny. We won the Nations League. No, France won the Nations League. We were doing good though. We're in first place for that. Oh, League B, Group 1. I see. So now we would be in League A. So we've been promoted to League A. We won League B. So next time around, we might have tried to do something in the Nations League, but it's hard to know what we might have accomplished, if anything. Let's see, the Euro Cup, we were in Group C. European Championship, we won that. Yeah, okay, yeah, we won the European Championship. We won all these trophies, and yet we weren't first. Strange, right? I guess you got to win a few more than just 2 in a row. I mean, I think we were somewhere near the top. Where do I go to look at world major nations world rankings? Yes, there we go. We are in second now. Okay, we actually have moved up since the last time it was announced. I think we were third or fourth. Sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. France is still up there because they win. Well, they've won a lot over the past decade. We won a couple recently. So, yeah, no, I think this is pretty cool, getting the national team up to second. I doubt that would last because, like I said, most of that team is going to age out real fast. So, winning more was going to be a huge ask. There was going to be some downtimes, let's put it that way. I'm not convinced I would have been kept on to do the job. Eventually, they might have been like, well, now we're losing, so let's get somebody else to do it. I'm not sure if I would have taken them over with one of the other managers or just let them go to a AI manager. I don't like letting the AI do my national team when I'm doing a build a nation though, because they pick shitty players. They pick who's in form, and who is in form to them is whoever's playing at a decent clip in a higher league. But some of these players are our best players. They're just on teams where they don't play enough, and that's not their fault. I'm sure, yes, they could manufacture a move to somewhere else, etc., etc. But I'd rather just take the best players. And when I organized it, I resorted this before I showed it to you so that I could put them in order of their current abilities on the bench. Before that, they were sorted by position. But when I chose them, I chose some decent players. But as you could see from the squad planner, there were some better players I didn't pick, mostly because I didn't realize they were better. But that's okay. I try to pick similar-ish players ratings wise, and then the tiebreaker for me is form on the team that they play for. But you can see a couple of these guys. Like, he has almost no match sharpness to speak of because he's not playing very much. Even at a French team, he's not playing as much as he should. Which is weird. He's the best player on this team. Oh no, he's the starter, I guess. I don't know why his sharpness is so low. I am very confused by that. How his sharpness is this low. Oh well. I thought he just wasn't playing enough, but apparently he is playing most of their games. He just can't seem to keep his sharpness. His morale is low too. What's that all about? He does. Oh, he's unhappy with the situation at the club. Maybe they have benched him recently because he's unhappy. He's very unhappy with his training. I see. Okay. Well, that explains why he might have a low match sharpness. He might be causing rifts and they're sitting him. But yeah, even our goalkeeper situation, like, I don't know how you would pick informed goalkeepers because other than Kosh, who plays for me, none of these goalkeepers start for their teams. And below these two, the drop off in goalkeeping is significant, and they're also not starters on their teams. So there are no real good goalkeepers to choose from. Like I said, if it wasn't for Kosh, this team in the goalkeeping position would be in peril. And even when I started playing Kosh as the starter, he was nowhere near this good. I just knew that he was going to be the next starter on the merit that he had been playing well for my club team, and that he was already quite a bit better than Bungard and Christensen there. So sometimes you got to play a guy for his upside. Sometimes it's what you do. His sharkness was low. Yes, he needs to be sharkier. How much shark you could have in a player? Well, the sharkier the better. They got to have some bite. You got to get them teeth going. The real good gnashers. You get right in there, and the more chum you eat, the better chance you have of making my team. You got to be very, very full of chum. And these sharky guys, they are okay. That's enough of that. I can only go so far with that one. I'm not as creative as some people with the stories. I love my Lingby squad though, because I knew that they were good and I knew that they were rated high. But it's funny how I stuck to Unal so religiously because he plays. Look at this, 17 goals from the DM position, most of those in corners. Right. I play him here because of his jumping and heading, although they've gone down. But yeah, I stuck to him religiously, even though I probably could have started putting Guardsful in there as a starter. I know I had another DM that I let go because he wanted more playing time and he wasn't going to get it. And I think he might have been even higher rated. But sometimes you just get really dedicated and loyal to a player. You're just like, this guy's my starter. I don't care who's better. This was going to become a problem. Zegers was eventually going to take over this spot, and I think it would have been hard. But look at Zegers' upside. I didn't think it was that high. Some of these guys have potential abilities that are much, much higher than I expected to see. Some of them have lower potential abilities than I expected to see. But that's what's cool about unwrapping this at the end, so to speak, is I thought Alfred had a much higher one. Rojas has 180. I didn't know it was going to be that good, although the stars suggested it might have been. But then it's funny. Like this guy, 5-star, 180. This guy's 4.5-star, 188. Does that make sense? No, not really. Plus, he's younger. I don't know. It's one of those things where you just it can't be 100% correct all the time. Otherwise, it'd be too boring. Navarro, here's a guy that I've been underestimating. I even thought his current ability was lower than this, mostly because of his technicals. But hey, look at that. He's a 145. I guess he should have been pushing for playing time. He was, he probably would have supplanted Clark in no time. But I really like Christoph Clark. Although, yeah, this guy should have taken his spot, probably even now, because he's got way better jumping and heading, and that's what I usually value. But like I said, I was trying to shoehorn Silas Nilsson in to make sure he got enough games to develop for the national team. So much bias, I know. But wow, there's so many good players that came through our academy. I'm actually pretty proud of our academy. Like this is a lot of potential future talent here that our academy was churning out. Quite a few of these players here are from our academy. I'm pretty sure Yannick Peterson came from our academy. So that's good. Michael Peterson came from our academy. Casper Gunderson came recently from our academy. He's only 16. All right. Nice. Though his potential star rating dropped. Why? Oh well, doesn't matter. When he came through, it was higher, so I stuck him on the bench just in case I could get him some minutes. It might be because I promoted him to the second team. Is he playing for the second team? Oh, he is. I guess, yeah, he's as highly rated as any of my central midfielders on here, so that might have been part of it. So here's who I was playing on my first team. Did I have the right players in? I did. Look at that. I guess Kovac should have been probably starting. Oh, yeah. So I didn't have it completely right. That's all right. Yeah, he definitely should have been starting over Hadar there. Yannick Peterson. No, he's good, but not better than who I have in there. I guess probably should have played instead of either Nielsen or Navarro because those guys are more available for the first team. But this was me trying to get every extra minute into them I could for development's sake. Like I said, Nielsen I kind of struggled with because look at his sharpness isn't great because I just couldn't find minutes for him. It was tough, especially when I had Navarro playing well, but then I had to drop him in favor. Anyway, this is the main wrap up. So at this point, I feel like I'm rambling. I don't. I hope I didn't miss anything. You know, nation coefficients. Like I said, we got to third, which was way above what I ever could have expected. We ended up with 5 here because we also got the extra coefficient place from last season here. So we're going to get 5 in the Champions League, 2 in Europe and in Europa, and 1 in conference. There's the final standings. Copenhagen won the Conference League. Lyngby and AGF played each other in the Champions League final, which it's like the best possible outcome I ever could have expected. All right, I'll save that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the end button really quick so that the VOD stops. It's crazy that you can't just split a VOD while you're live. Isn't that nuts? The first thing I want to do, though, is load the new game and make sure that all of the screens on it, because now that I've had those screens loaded, they'll be loaded here. So I need to go quick so I'm not looking at them, because we don't want any of that stuff loaded. That one's fine. Got another T. Go fast. Oh my gosh, this happens in so many places, hey? Not a fan. This one should be okay. Nope, it's not. Just loads them up everywhere. What are you supposed to do with that? I think that should be everything. Well, no, actually, just thought of it. I bet you national teams still show that. No, they're good. All right, I hope that was all of them for this. Anyway, I don't really have a name idea for my new save. So that's another thing I was going to ask is, does anybody have a good idea for the name here? I'm playing as a small French team, but I don't know what to name the save. That's all right. I'm sure I can come up with something. Let's think about it. Where would I edit that? Right here. The food valley. What? What is that? I can't copy that. Stupid buttons get in the way when I want to. Oh, here we go. French for footballers. Yeah, I suppose that would be right if that was the nickname of the club, but it's not. Oh, it is. Okay, footballers. Look at that. Awesome. I keep learning new words. At least I've done that. I like learning new words. But yeah, this is what's going to be happening now. Is I'm going to be playing a lower level team. So I'll explain the premise of this once I. Footballiers. Chandli. What? Who said it wrong? Nobody said it yet. I really am stuck on this though. This is it's a shame because I can't think of a damn name, and here I am stuck on this VOD, and this will be the end of the VOD. Right? This is me just saying, what am I going to name the next save that you're going to see? What are I decided to see if there's anything interesting about the place. Not really, eh? They got a park. They're famous for some war hero from the early 1800s, but yeah, not a lot there. I mean, that's the problem with playing in a really small town is they're not going to have a ton of history. I am definitely lost on a name. Oh, I did. I've already asked her. She's lost too. She didn't have any ideas either. It's hard to come up with a name for for a stream. Um, I wish I'd put more thought into it rather than kind of putting myself on the spot. But that's not the worst thing. You know what? I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. Simple is often the best. So this will only take a moment. Don't go anywhere.